Gen Z is entering the workforce with new perspectives and expectations.
In this podcast, we're here to listen to their stories and experiences, their successes and frustrations, and help employers understand the mindset and perspectives of the up-and-coming workforce.
Employers can't dictate what their young employees find meaningful. What they can do, however, is empower them to create their own sense of purpose and authentic connections.
Our curriculum is designed to help them do exactly that. East Valley Leader Lab is committed to paving the way for more curious, engaged, and connected young professionals in the workplace. Hello, I'm Tim Eskew. This is Amanda Stradling. We are the East Valley Leader Lab, and this is our podcast, Mind and Body at Work. If our content resonates with you, we hope you'll click on the link in the show notes for the description of our newest offer, Helping Gen Z Thrive at Work. As always, please like, share, and or subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Today we have two wonderful guests, David Baxter and Angel Garretson. David has actually been here before. So we talked about his company, Bean Chain, and the unique worker-directed model that they have created and are implementing. And as we moved into this topic of young people entering the workforce, we thought they might have a different experience there. So we wanted to talk to him and somebody who works there. So Amanda, you're going to introduce our guest a little more.
Great. David, thank you for being back. This is David Baxter. He is our first guest to come on twice in both seasons. So
setting
really
records.
Excited to have you. Before, David came with his wife, Shannon Baxter, and they are the founders of Bean Chain Coffee. And yeah, like Tim was saying, David's very passionate about ending poverty through this worker-directed model.
Yeah, trying to build networks of worker-directed companies moving towards being worker cooperatives. Our greater goal is to see more worker cooperatives and worker ownership in America. We think that if there's a greater sense of agency and ownership in the workplace, we can get people more of the value that they're generating back and maybe bring back the American dream.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your passion and for your knowledge in this area and for being here twice.
Well, thank you for letting us.
Yeah. All right. And we also have Angel Garretson here today. Thank you for being here, Angel. I got a little bio written here for Angel. Angel's 25 years old and was raised here in Mesa, Arizona. Started working at minimum wage jobs when she was 16 in high school, barista included. In college, she studied fine art photography at CGC, and along the way found how to turn something you were passionate about and build it into a professional career. So that's really cool. She worked years as a fashion product photographer for a local clothing store for a few years and decided to walk away when the environment no longer aligned with you. That's really cool. That's something we want to talk about today. You then started working for a small studio who was contracted out to different schools across Arizona and took school photos for about a year until you could no longer afford the job, not enough pay. Also an issue, right, in the current working environment. These days, you're still pulling espresso shots, but you're also working as a social media manager for Bean Chain, right?
Correct.
Great. It's been a winding path, but every step has shaped you into who you are and where you're headed.
Absolutely.
You say your big goals have changed. As I am ever changing, right now my goals are to inspire others to tap into their creative energy and to build a community of people driven to create positive change. So that sounds like there's some good synergy and alignment with Bean Chain there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
Okay, so David, I'm going to direct the first question to you. So you've been in the workforce for a while now. You've been a company owner for several years, and before that, you were a programmer for some years. Can you tell us a little bit about how you think work demands have changed just since you've been in the world of work? What's been changing?
Well, I'm relatively young, right? Like I'm only 35. So I've been a working adult for the last 15 years, a little bit more. I think I was going to college from like 18 to 20. So I guess, yeah, just about 15 years.
Yeah.
And when I was just out of college, I had to leave because I ran out of, I was on the Pell Grant and it ran out. So I had to leave. I didn't get a degree. I just had to start working minimum wage jobs and doing whatever I could. My first one was out of college was Amazon. So that was a terrible experience.
Oh.
Kind of very body destroying and soul destroying working there. Time your bathroom breaks and make sure that you, if you're a minute late, something, you already get like threats of getting fired. It's pretty ruthless, but and 12-hour shifts, man. So I left that job because I just didn't think I could do it anymore, and I got a job at a coffee shop, and then through my 20s, I think I worked another 30 jobs at least before I ended up kind of, teaching myself web development and breaking into that career. There was a common theme over the course of all of those that was, not having enough in one way or another. They were just taking too much from my life and not giving anything back. Just really kind of an over exploitation of me as a worker. And I think what's changed, what I've seen get a little worse over the last 15 years is cost of living in America has gone up drastically. You see housing prices, I think in early 2000s, the median home price was somewhere around like 200,000, and by 2018 the median home price was around somewhere like 450, 500,000, more than a doubling, and the rent markets have seen some very similar changes.
Definitely.
I can't imagine it's been much better for groceries and other cost of living changes. So, and I haven't seen people getting paid a whole lot more. So I would imagine it's just twice as hard for people to live at this point. I was insulated from some of that as when I was around 26 or 27 is when I broke out of poverty and got a job as a web developer. But it was only by, teaching myself and then lying to my first employer to say that I was already a web developer so that I could get out of that. I don't know how anybody at that point in my life, I was doing the math in my head and seeing that there was no way that I would ever be able to save up any money, get out of debt, let alone save enough money to go to college or change like my own future. So the only way I could see out was dishonest. I mean, somewhat, right? Like I learned the skills,
there,
but
right?
Yeah.
So you've seen
So I think it's gotten
work
worse.
demands start tough and get tougher, really, in your
Well, I think
15 years of experience.
the economic demands have gotten worse, but the work situations stayed probably relatively the same for people, just about
Okay.
the same pay and same high demands that I've known most of my life.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine on balance it's gotten worse for workers.
All right. So let's talk to a worker.
Yeah.
Now, this is kind of a special situation, right? Because you work at a unique place. But tell us, Angel, tell us a little bit about the job that you're in now and why you chose Bean Chain.
Okay. Well, right now I'm a barista and social media manager at Bean Chain. And how I became a part of Bean Chain was it just so happened to all align together. So at the time I was looking for a new job because my boyfriend chose to go back to school and I wanted him to be able to focus on school, and I needed to be able to work as much as I could and clock in as much as I could without hating my job and my diminishing my mental health. So I was a barista when I was 18 to 20, and I loved being a barista, and it came easy to me, and I never thought I was never really so stressed out, and it was a good time. So I was looking for coffee shops to work at again, and just so I can work as much as I could. And I had an interview at Bean Chain. I met David and Shannon, and it quickly showed me that this place was something different, and I just felt so blessed that it just felt like everything was aligning for me in this moment. The way they were so relatable, first of all, was really cool. Like I've never experienced a job where the owner of the company is sitting there with me and we're just talking like friends. And it was like, whoa, this is cool. And in the interview, I offered like help for social media because I have some experience with it. And so it just, I don't know, just all aligned. And I was like, I feel like it was actually supposed to only be temporary working there. And then just for like a summer, because I was working for schools and on the off time, you don't get paid. So I was like, I need to work something in between. So it was just supposed to be temporary for the summer or whatever. And I just loved it. I actually never left and never went back to my old job. But, you know,
really?
we still have good relation and stuff.
Which was photography for the
Which
school,
was for the schools,
right?
yeah. And yeah, so I just ended up staying at Bean Chain and I love it. And there's a lot of opportunity for like growth and just developing as a human. So it's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
So growth in the company, but also personal development, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. And I like how you highlighted that there's sort of a feeling of friendship and relatability, some genuine connection there.
Yeah.
Is that something that you value a lot in a workplace?
Well, definitely like the feeling, like the team I work with, being able to have a good relationship with them is important to me. But the fact that they're my boss and I still have that, like we're all on the same playing field, we're all equals, we're all treated as coworkers, is something I've never experienced or even really thought I could experience. Usually in past jobs, when the owners are there, because I work for small businesses, where the owners are there every day or every other day, and everyone's scared. Everyone's like, we know someone's gonna get in trouble. It's like never anything fun. And, you know, David and Shannon are there every day, and it's a great time. I enjoy seeing them. I look forward to seeing them. So I definitely do value that. I think it's important. It makes me look forward to going to work, that's for sure, and which I can't say about like other jobs I've had.
One of the generalizations we hear about new people coming into the workforce is they're not as loyal as previous generations. We're trying to not worry about these generalizations. We want to hear it from you. So I'm just using that as a context to ask, how do you think about, you know, your future career and, you know, you have plans to stay at Bean Chain for a while. How do you think about that?
So with Bean Chain, there's been a encouragement from David to start a marketing co-op within Bean Chain. And, you know, that's something I really, really want to do. And I'm really like inspired to do and motivated to do. But we've had a lot of conversations where I've expressed that I'm like nervous to do that and fearful. And through conversation and stuff, David and Shannon have offered to pay for some marketing courses for me. So I've been doing that, and I'll be done in November. But it's a great opportunity where they're helping me grow my experience at Bean Chain, and I'm getting to pretty much run their social media with them. And then also I get to learn as well. And yeah.
I've noticed some good social media buzz. You're doing a good job.
We're trying. I mean, right now it's me and Shannon, and we have a new person on the team that's interested in joining too. So we're growing. But yeah, I was a part of the photography aspect of the last social media team. So being like the social media manager and seeing what there is, like there's so many things that go under social media and digital advertising that I didn't know. So yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of opportunity for me to grow within Bean Chain and as a marketing, like part of Bean Chain, but also my own as well.
Okay, so some autonomy, I'm hearing, is kind of an important part of work for you.
Yes, for sure.
That's great.
And you mentioned being a little fearful. Was that you couldn't do it, or what was that about?
Totally that I couldn't do it. Yeah, I have a lot of like anxiety or like self-doubt. So even though I have experience and I do have knowledge about this stuff, I almost feel like, well, why me? Like, are you sure you want me to do it? Like, there's got to be someone better out there, I'm sure. But they really believe in me, and I definitely feel it. It makes me believe in myself too. But yeah, it's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
So David, is retaining workers something that you're concerned about, and how do you think about that? How do you focus on that at Bean Chain?
We are not concerned about that at all.
Okay.
We're focused on building an environment of good faith and trust, and one that is mutually beneficial. And I think that's kind of at the core of that idea of good faith. With a worker cooperative, the idea, there's 7 principles of what makes a cooperative, but I think the most important ones are, having a path to ownership that's available to everyone, this path to improving their own position and, taking more custody, more ownership over that thing that we're all building together, and benefiting more from that as well. And when you have that available to people, and then that kind of more democratic leadership style that results from having workers be able to become owners, be able to become members, you end up having these workers have this greater sense of care and custodianship over that organism that they're all building together, a greater connection to the customers and to the community that they're building it in. It naturally creates an ecosystem where people care about the environment locally, whether it's a social environment or an environmental environment. You just have this greater sense of connection. So as we're focusing on building that and building the communication tools and the patterns, habits, and just the greater level of communication that's required to make that work. We find that we can find actionable solutions to just about any communication problem that happens in the workplace, and help people to kind of understand themselves and us and understand each other. And this kind of ecosystem tends to keep people around that want to be a part of that. And we've never actually fired anybody. People have only left on their own accord at the Bean Chain because we have such a generous kind of disciplinary system, I guess, for lack of a better term. But it takes 5 opportunities before we're even going to, by our own rules, have the opportunity to fire somebody.
Interesting.
Right? And no one's really gotten past 3 or 4 before either the situation gets better or they decide that they don't want to try to fix it anymore. But most people have just, ended up becoming more connected with the workplace and the people around them.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you're prioritizing your employees, you're investing in them.
Or treating them like humans is the thing. It's
great.
not too complicated. Keeping people around is a matter of giving them reasons to want to stay around. If they're making enough money to live, if they enjoy being there, if they have opportunities to grow, that's the kind of stuff that produces the loyalty that you were talking about. Mm-hmm. I think that's where maybe less wise leaders might see a change in loyalty as a result of just something wrong with a new generation. But it's really them. It's those other leaders, the ones that are telling you that they see a drop in loyalty. They're the problem. They're producing ecosystems that people don't want to be a part of, that they don't feel a sense of connection with, and that they feel no reason to be loyal to. It's usually because of greed. It's usually because someone's trying to take too much from the workers and not give enough back.
Do you think that maybe the newer workers are a little more wise to that, a little more aware, and less likely to put themselves in situations that aren't good for their financial or mental well-being?
I don't think that many of us are aware of the systems that we're a part of. I think it's hard to. You ever
That's a really
watch
good
kind
point.
of an apocalyptic movie, what are those called, where the society's kind of become a little bit warped and broken?
Mm-hmm.
Dystopian,
There
yeah.
we go.
Nobody realizes they're in a dystopian society. Nobody realizes that they're part of something that's so predatory and broken. They just are. We're just playing the parts. We've had a culture of distrust between workers and owners brewing for the last 50 years as wages have remained stagnant and more power has been has been focused in capital in the United States as we've moved towards oligarchy. And we're now seeing the results of that on our social ecosystem, on our culture. It resulted in a deep distrust from workers towards owners because they've been abused so much, and a reciprocal distrust from owners to workers because once somebody is abused, they will prioritize themselves. And I've definitely, like, one of the things we've been working past with a lot of our newer workers, and like the biggest problem that we've encountered so far is that culture and the tendency to see Shannon and myself as less than human, not treating us very well, like treating us in very unkind ways, because that's just the culture. That's what people are trained to do. They're trained to see bosses as their enemy instead of wanting to work together to build something. So we've had to break through that and build trust from the ground up with every single worker that's decided to stay. And the ones that have left, I think are just suffering from the kind of fear that Angel was speaking to earlier when being around the owners of the business.
I want to ask Angel,
Yeah.
do you remember, just going into your first job, did you have expectations of, what were their expectations of me? How is this going to work? Am I going to like these people? Just, what were your thoughts as a new young person coming in?
On my first job,
Sure.
You don't have to name your first job
Okay.
either.
I won't. I won't. My first job, I think I was 16, so I was just like excited. I didn't really need to work, but I wanted to buy stuff,
Yep.
so I wanted to work. So I was more excited. I didn't really have any expectations, and my first job was like a fast food place. So I honestly, after that job, had low expectations for places because I was like, oh, it's not that hard to work. It's not that crazy. My managers are like wacko. Like this is nothing. And then just went to other jobs, and I was like, okay, I want to do something more, something meaningful, something that's not just a job I just go clock into. And so that's when I was like, okay, this photography thing that I've been doing for a while, I need to do something with it. So I started setting my portfolio out, applying to places. I got a job doing that for a while, and it was cool. It was like my dream job, that I've been thinking about since like I was in high school when I first picked up a camera. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. But the work environment was not great. It was a lot of drama, like cattiness stuff, and then a lot of judgment, I would say. Like the people who were my managers and my bosses would kind of nitpick who I was, not like my work ethic or how I perform. But
Made it kind of personal.
yeah, and came at me about just how I express myself, like how I dress. And it was never unprofessional. It was just too colorful.
Wow.
How I, like, my hair, how to do it. I mean, it wasn't anything. Right now it's dark red. That's probably the most I do. But they just wanted me to be, a certain type of way. And I just tried to fit into that. I really did. And I was like, why am I doing that? This is not me. I want to be able to go to work and actually love what I do. And I don't love what I do here. So I was like, I gotta do something else. School photography. That was awesome. I actually loved that job. That was the first time I worked with a team where everyone was a moving part to something. And I was like, wow, like, this is really cool. This is what a team means. But it just didn't pay enough, honestly. And that's why I couldn't do it. But I loved it. And now I'm at Bean Chain. But
That's great. At the Leader Lab, we talk a lot about well-being. Our last season was called Well-Being in the Workplace. And there's so many prongs to that word, like well-being, financial well-being being a big part of it. Like, can this job pay the bills? But also, is this job like meeting something I'm passionate about? Does this job have room for me to grow and develop? Do these people treat me with respect and dignity? There's a lot of aspects to well-being. And I want to hear a little bit from each of you on your take on that word. David, maybe just how you're building well-being into the Bean Chain. You've already spoken to that idea a little bit, but just kind of that word specifically.
Yeah. Well, I think the first and most obvious aspect is economic.
Yes.
Our first goal on our roadmap for the bean chain is getting up to what we would call a living wage, and I don't think we're there yet. Right now, we're paying $15.50 plus tips, which kind of comes out to around $24 an hour usually.
That's great for a barista.
It is, but it's not anywhere near enough.
Because the cost of living.
Yeah, cost of living is way too high. We've been being gouged by landlords across America for a long time now. I know the apartments just across the street from the bean chain cost $1,800 a month for a double bedroom, and for a single bedroom, it's something like $1,600 a month, and $24 an hour, even full time, is barely enough to have that be a reasonable cost of living. There's actually no state in the United States right now where you can afford to live in a single bedroom apartment for minimum wage, and that's been true for a while now. So we're trying our best to get up to that. Right now, it's taken great sacrifice on the part of Shannon and I. We're about 2 years in, and Shannon and I still make about $5 an hour, and we work about 10 hours a day, no weekends, doubles if people call out. Fortunately, our team has been very reliable and returned a lot of the kind of generosity that we're trying to give in that respect by covering for each other as much as they can. And
that's that ecosystem kind of that you're talking about, and trust.
Yeah. Trusting that we all are working for each other there. And Shannon and I we know that we have to put in a lot more up front to build that trust. So doing this, making sure that we've already given people a 50-cent wage from $15 to $15.50, even though we're not making, barely making enough to pay for our own apartment and our food. But that's kind of what we have to do to change that culture, and it's just genuinely hard to build a business anyway.
Definitely.
But we're here 2 years in still. The business is making enough money to keep its doors open and to keep paying its workers, and we're seeing things move in the right direction. So I think someday soon, Shannon and I will have a weekend day and maybe even a more reasonable paycheck.
That would be wonderful. A lot of great strides at the bean chain. You guys are doing good.
We're trying our best, and people are definitely responding to the mission. I think there's probably nobody that's been untouched by poverty in America at this point in one way or another.
I think it's something everybody relates to a little bit.
Something like 60% of people in 2018 were living paycheck to paycheck, so probably closer to 75% of people now, after COVID and the kind of $7 trillion transfer of wealth that happened from the lower to the upper class during that period. But back to the well-being question. So financially is important. That's the first step. Next, we already have our first apprentice working towards being a member. So offering ways for people to, work towards something better, and become a greater part of this is important. We have elements of, we call this a worker-directed company because we're including elements of worker direction. Voting teams are important. Angel's on the marketing team. We are trying to build more. We want to build an events team and help get people, like maybe 10% of a revenue share on events that they help us throw. And that would kind of encourage members of our team to take up the mantle of maintaining events and putting more events together in the community.
I dropped in one weekend a little while back, and you guys had a really fun event going on.
Was it a K-pop one?
It was.
Yep. My wife loves K-pop.
Yep.
And if Taman from Shiny hears this, my wife would love to have you come down to the shop. We'd give you a free drink and a sandwich.
That's wonderful.
You're her favorite K-pop idol.
Shout out to Shannon there.
And Taman.
Yep.
So we're providing these avenues for people to earn extra money for extra work, improve their position. And I think another important aspect of building well-being is encouraging people to think about how the bean chain can be a platform for the change that they want to see in the world, specifically as it relates to poverty and workers. We're trying to kind of refine what the bean chain is doing to those areas. But a lot of things relate to that. Mental health, a lot of social causes relate to that and can help in those areas. And we want to encourage people to, on our team to put together events that they want to see there, like poetry nights and
fun.
whatever else they want, art shows, music.
Very
And build cooperatives like the one that we're trying to encourage Angel to build, marketing, which can become a greater part of the coalition of worker cooperatives that we want to build for the bean chain. It can become a service provider for marketing for every member of the greater cooperate network, which is what we want to call the larger coalition that even extends outside the bean chain. It's just like a bunch of different cooperatives working together.
Great.
And it can be independently economically sustainable too. So she can, with the marketing cooperative, take clients outside of the bean chain, outside of the network, to make sure that is economically advantageous to all the members of it.
A lot of flexibility there. I like that.
Yeah, the goal isn't to own everything and make all the money. The goal is to help people live better lives and end poverty. And that really does free us up to do quite a bit more if it's not all about us.
That's awesome. Angel, I'm going to throw that well-being word at you. Is that something, when you're thinking about work, is well-being something you're mindful of?
I'd say definitely I'm mindful of well-being. I think because financially, I'm living with family, and I still pay rent, but not as much as if I was living on my own.
Yeah.
I still have car payments and things like that as well. So I have bills I need to pay for, but I have the privilege to be able to value my well-being at work. Otherwise, if I needed to make more money, I would probably have to go work a job where I wasn't necessarily happy or thriving at. But I definitely value well-being and mental health, for sure, for me. And I just want to make sure that I'm happy and that the work I'm doing is making a difference and for the better, that's for sure.
Yes.
And I like making an impact on people, especially in Mesa. I grew up in Mesa. There's nothing like Bean Chain really anywhere. So I feel like blessed I get to be a part of this, part of some history in Mesa for sure.
That's
But,
great.
Yeah. Well-being's important for sure.
That's wonderful. You found some meaningful work. And I love that local connection because I was also born in Mesa, and I love creating value from the place that created you, the place you're from.
Right.
Give back to that.
100%.
That's great.
Yeah, community is something I really value. And what made me be like, wow, Bean Chain is something different is because right before I started working there, I'm really into the photography and just art community. And a lot of that is out in Phoenix. So I was driving to Phoenix like 3 times a week just to be a part of like events, photo shoots, networking things. And I felt like I'm trying to be a part of a community and I'm not really even a part. I don't live in Phoenix. I'm not really that familiar with Phoenix. And becoming a part of Bean Chain, I'm like, wow, there's a whole community out here in the east side in Mesa that I could just harbor here. And
That's
so photo club is something that I've been talking about forever, and have it all typed up how I want to do it. And
cool.
it's just something that I feel like would be really cool. I can, build that community over here, and I've like kind of found a place to do that at Bean Chain.
That's
And
exciting.
they encourage it too, so it's awesome.
That's
We
great.
actually have a channel in our Discord for the photography club.
Wow.
So, and pretty soon we'll be pushing our Discord a little bit more and inviting everyone from the community to just join it and become a part of all the clubs we have. I have like the anime club, the photo club, I need to make one for programmers. We have a book club.
That's great. I'll have to look at that. Maybe jump in on a book club or something.
Yeah.
Need a Tai Chi club.
Yeah, get a Tai Chi club going.
We don't have a channel in our Discord for the book club, but I think there's a couple book clubs that actually meet at the shop frequently.
Oh, there was a big group of ladies when I was last there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we have a wonderful little library there, so it's like perfect for that.
Yep, you're building such a wonderful community. I can tell that community is something that you both value.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But it all comes from the that sense of well-being that we're building within the people. You can't really make a community without good people to be a part of it, and that's where it's coming from. And there's a lot of wonderful buildings out there that have zero soul, and making sure that people do feel a chance to be fulfilled and the opportunity to do something meaningful and worthwhile with their time is what allows all that to happen. You know, I made a lot more money as a software engineer before this, so making around $110,000 a year. And I make almost nothing now, but I feel happier every single day waking up to come to work at the Bean Chain than I ever did for a single day at any of the shops that I worked at as a programmer.
Really?
So, yeah, 10,000 times more fulfilled. Because we're working
great.
towards actually making something better in this world, which doesn't happen very often.
That's wonderful. I want to ask, of course, because we're the Leader Lab, a little bit about leadership. And you've already talked about so many ways you're elevating the skills and lives of your employees. But specifically, are any of your younger, newer workers moving into positions that you would call leadership roles?
Yeah, well, Angel is in a way too.
Yeah.
She's like taken up kind of a more leadership role over social media, and we talked about it, and she asked for that responsibility. We designed the position of content manager, and started kind of adding responsibilities to her plate with that. And Delonte, another one of our workers, is beginning that apprenticeship process towards becoming a member, and that may take a couple of years. Our goal with that is to teach Delonte all the leadership, communication, and life skills needed to be a member of a cooperative and function democratically within an organization like that. Also, all the kind of business skills that he'll need to be an owner of a coffee shop. Because that's essentially what a member in this cooperative would be. So we're going to make sure that the other members feel comfortable bringing him on board. Right now, that's just me and Shannon, and that's kind of the process with any new member that's going to be brought on board for our particular organization. Every organization that is a worker-owned business or a worker cooperative kind of has their own specific set of rules, just like any other kind of business. They all have their own internal rules. Ours is, we want people to put in the sweat equity to become the owner. We're not requiring a massive investment financially from them, which is sometimes how a worker cooperative does it. You want to put some money in to have some skin in the game. We're asking for sweat equity as that investment instead of a lump sum of money, because we don't want it to be, barred from people that perhaps have more financial burdens.
Yeah, remove some of those barriers.
Yeah.
I like that.
But Delonte is definitely putting in the work, and he's working towards that kind of leadership position. And he's got some big dreams and big goals for what he would like to do as a member at the Bean Chain too.
That's great. Angel, is leadership something that you kind of aspire to? Is that something you think much about?
Well, I definitely think leadership is a role that I fall into very comfortably. And
great.
so with social media, I feel like even though I still need to learn some more, I feel like I'm confident to become a leader of that. And I love working with more people. So as much as I could be a leader, I would love to. I would say I see myself be going down the marketing avenue with the leadership, because that's just where my passion is at, being creative and having that outlet for sure. And just helping Bean Chain grow as a company for sure, like more locations or in different cities, different states. I would love to help out. So yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right.
I heard you say something earlier that a leader would say. You're going to start something, right? You're going to start that photo club.
Yeah.
That's what leaders do. They
Right.
create new things,
Yeah.
new
So
ideas.
definitely. The photo club is something that is like close to my heart, and I haven't started it yet, like got the ball rolling with putting the flyer out. But I have all the bones ready. I have it all ready. It's just a matter of doing it, and I just need to go for it. But yeah, it's something I'd love to do. I love to lead, I guess.
Great.
Nice.
Great.
So we've got about 5 minutes left before we wrap up.
This is rolling quick.
Whoa.
So I'm going to move us to another topic. We'll try to get in one or two more topics. David, again, we're not looking to make overgeneralizations. Just from your experience, what are some strengths and useful skills you've seen in your younger workers?
Well, we've every generation grows up in a different ecosystem,
That's true.
economically, socially, and culturally. So we're all kind of products of where we come from, and this particular generation is the first to grow up for their entire life having access to computers and social media and a lot of these new technologies that have connected the world in ways that we've never been able to connect before in a globalized kind of ecosystem. So definitely a lot more tech savviness and
For sure, right?
and
Definitely,
and that's something that's kind of required to run a business these days, is understanding how to reach out to the community and make those kinds of connections with your peers in this new way. So it's definitely helped having Angel on board to teach me what a lot of the new words mean and kind of help us really hook into some of the new trends in social media and just do marketing better.
Yeah,
So,
it's interesting how some of that stuff is almost instinctual for the younger generation that has been so saturated in it. And I don't think that's necessarily a stereotype. I think it's a truth to their lived experience that they've been in it more.
oh yeah.
I don't consider myself too old, but I have a younger sister that's almost 13 years younger than me. And it's pretty incredible the way she can market things online versus how I can without a lot of training on it even. She just is good at it.
We each pick up skills from the things that we were exposed to as kids. Like, I was born in '89, so I know how to program a VCR.
Yep.
And I could almost remember.
Could have used you about 15 years ago.
I can also like do the antennas on a TV. If I remember doing that a couple
do that
times.
too.
So, but these guys have social media, so that rocks.
Yeah.
I will say too. I think there's also. Oh man, I kind of lost the point. It was going to be a little bit about the economic realities that kids have grown up in right now. Imagine that I said something pretty deep about that.
I'm sure
Yeah,
you did.
they've been
Thank you.
tough realities. So I'm curious, Angel, going back to your previous job or this job, can you give us an example of running into something where you're like, why are they doing it this way? This would be so easy if we just, any examples like that?
Oh.
Because of the technology or just your
Okay,
the
yeah.
way you
Technology.
do things?
Technology for sure. My last job, the photo school pics job,
Uh-huh.
a lot of the software they're using and the computers we're using were really old. So that was actually something for me to learn. I know how to use Mac really well, and I was using Windows and like really old programs on Windows. So I was like, whoa, this is so different, like having to edit and pull files. So I was like, have you guys ever tried updating our equipment and stuff? But they're tried and true, it doesn't fail them. So like, and the old owners were pretty old. Like that business was around for a while. So it's what they stuck to. But as far as technology, that's what I would say.
Yeah,
For
like
sure.
an update would seem so obvious to
Right.
you.
Like, I'm like, can we just make this faster or
Yeah.
smoother or something? But
Yeah.
it was what works for them, and I had to learn it. It was kind of interesting. Like, I felt like I was learning backwards a little bit because I was like, if we just did this, it would work. But
Yeah, and what's cool about the systems that we're developing here, particularly the way that we do communication at the Bean Chain is we kind of use this communication protocol that we're developing called the solution seeking system, right? And it's like 3 steps. Is the core communication protocol is first understand yourself, introspection, then help others understand you, and then find actionable solutions. And all of these solutions should feed into a system that we're collectively developing, whether that's our relationship interpersonally or the greater Bean Chain as a system and our workflow or our policies and procedures and all those things. But all these things that we come to as the solutions to the problems that we're exploring need to be recorded and made real in these systems. And that's kind of the core of our communication protocol. So everything that people find problems with, and they bring it up to the team, we find solutions for together. And we build that into what we're building. So we have a workflow process behind the counter that we've been developing as a team together for a long time now. And it helps us get drinks out pretty dang fast and make it pretty clear to give people instruction. You know, we have it well defined so people can always know where somebody else should be in the process, and makes it really easy to give feedback. And we have this policy of clarity is kindness that we took from Brene Brown and some of her writing. But that's an expression of that. You know, if it's not clearly defined, it should be. And we make sure to build that process in small ways and in big ways so that we can always find solutions and feed them back into the systems that we're developing so that nothing is lost. People don't have ideas like doing some kind of an update that
are useful
just
ideas.
Gets ignored.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
That way it can keep growing even after Shannon and I sell, you know, our portion of it to the workers, so it can become a full worker cooperative. As it has this kind of rotating roster of worker owners, it should continue to evolve and grow with the new ideas that come into it and keep the best of them. And, you know, as things become obsolete, lose those things. And that kind of system evolution can only happen if you have some sort of protocol in place to make sure you keep changing.
Yep.
What was the name of the 3-point communication system again?
We call it the solution-seeking system. So
Solution-seeking
at the
system.
core of it is introspection, understanding, and then solution-seeking.
So I wondered, has it rolled out yet? Angel, have you had any experience with it yet?
Absolutely, yeah.
Can you give us any kind of example of how it
course.
worked for you?
So solution seekings, just like one-on-ones. I could say like the first time I ever had one, it was like they're never anything serious. Like no one does anything bad where it's like we need to sit down and talk. It's more or less like maybe I got feedback and I was defensive about it, and David saw that I was defensive, like, you know, picked up on I was being defensive, and he wants to talk about it. So I feel like that's probably what my first one was maybe, and he's like, something going on, like whatever, and I was able to express, you know, I don't remember the situation, but, you know, maybe I was feeling embarrassed or I was feeling shame that I just got corrected and I reacted, you know, unprofessional, or it was like, you know, talked back. And being able to have those open conversations and be honest with David, like I felt this way, and he takes it and he wants to get to the root of it and solve this problem. It makes solving problems really easy. And so like I don't really think of solution seekings. I don't even really know if I'm having them anymore. Like it's just conversate. Like we just conversate about if there's an issue. So it's never really anything. He'll still pull me to talk sometimes, like one-on-ones, but call it a fun-on-one. And it's really just to check in, like, how are you doing in your life, and how are you doing at work? Is there anything you want me to know, like that we could work on? Just things like that. Like it's very open, and that's really valuable. You don't find that really anywhere, especially from your boss. So I really value it, and I harbor this relationship with a lot of like honesty and trust, and I have a lot of love for David and Shannon and Bean Chain. So yeah.
Back at you. And what that looks like from the leadership side too is that core protocol, the introspection, understanding, and solution seeking. We use that in 4 different common processes within the Bean Chain. One is the one-on-ones, which is more of an exploratory conversation, just talking about like, hey, what's going on and how you doing? Just giving people a platform to talk about things, and then trying to kind of use that system to find solutions for problems they may be having, or just have a conversation. And then another is targeted conversations. That would be like the feedback thing, where if somebody were to like, we see some sort of friction, we want to identify that. So first step is the introspection for the leader, is get past any hurt feelings and understand yourself, and then try to have the conversation with the worker where you can help them understand where you're coming from, understand what you saw, and then try to understand where they're coming from and help them understand their own feelings a little bit better, and kind of gain different perspectives on what happened. And then the third step is solution seeking within that targeted conversation, where you find a solution based on that shared understanding that you've both developed. The more formal procedure is actually called solution seeking. So we should probably rename that since it's like a duplicate name. But
Does it happen real time, or if you're busy, do you stop, or do you?
we find the right time to
Do it
have the
later.
conversation. So with a targeted conversation where it's something small, it's not going to be like a formal procedure, that we would probably do it at the end of the shift.
Okay.
Just say like, hey, this is what we saw. We want to talk about it. Let's understand this. And then let's find a solution that we can put in place together. If it's something bigger, like a repeated, like something that's been repeated and not
Yeah.
addressed, or like a major issue like attendance or harassment or gossiping, then it would be a formal solution seeking, and we would declare that too in the spirit of like courteous kindness. We don't want people to be mystified about whether or not like this is a formal attempt to solve a problem. So we'll let them know right at the beginning, this is an actual solution seeking session. Like, we need to solve this. And I'll usually put a couple hours into writing up a document before
Oh,
that.
wow.
And exploring like my own perspective, making sure that I have it clearly written down, like how this is a problem and why, what we witnessed. I'll usually have bullet points with like pictures of if it's like something I can take pictures of and write about, I'll do that. It'll be very clearly laid out. And we'll go through and ask them to like listen to the explanation first, then have a conversation about it, and then we find a solution together. And that's the 5 steps that I was telling you about before, where we have to do 5 of those before anybody could ever be fired, according to our own rules. And I'm proud to say, worked hard to make sure to hold ourselves to those rules.
That makes sense.
And then the 4th practice is targeted one-on-ones, solution seekings, feedback. That's the minor, the most minor of them. And that's just in the moment. That's the kind of like when it needs to happen, telling
Right.
people, hey, like this is, let's try to do that a different way. Here's why. And then having a conversation with them for like a couple seconds after.
That's
Thank you.
great. Well, guys, we've gotten to learn so much about both of you, about your passion for ending poverty, for worker well-being, for creating change in the world and expressing your art. This has been a really great conversation. Sadly, we are coming to a close of our time, but is there any last things you guys would like to add?
I don't know. I don't.
Anything you were hoping to share that that didn't come up? 'Cause we didn't get to all the questions.
Well, anything I didn't get to share. Well, I'll say one thing. I'll leave it on one note.
Okay.
So there was one thing that I actually was looking forward to share, and it was, what do I think a leader is, or
Yes.
like what characteristics?
That was actually like one of the next
Something
on the
about
cards.
something about that,
So,
right?
yes.
And so I was thinking about this, like, dang, what's a good leader to me? And I would say it's a balance of someone who's able to, take lead and take direction and take charge, and then also be able to know when they need to empower the team that is around them to solve their own problems and to work together to find solutions. I think a good balance of that is what makes a great leader, and especially communication. And I think David and Shannon are great leaders and show that every day. So, yeah,
That's wonderful.
Great note to end on.
Well, thanks.
Thanks for sharing
of
that.
course.
Well, thank you both for being here. You've made me want to go get some coffee. So it's been really wonderful having you.
Still open? We are for another hour.
Okay. Thank you to our listeners. It's been wonderful having you. We'll see you next time. Until then, be well and keep moving. This has been Mind and Body at Work with the East Valley Leader Lab. Please click on the link in the show notes for a description of our newest offer, Helping Gen Z Thrive at Work. This is our embodiment training to help new young workers integrate into your organization.
As always, if this content resonates with you and your cares, please like, share, and/or subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever it is you get your podcast. Be well and keep moving.